Well, good day. I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Travis Wardell. I am a program director for Mountain Travel Sobek in the regions of Europe and the Pacific. And we are here today to discuss some of our trips and our love and passion for the United Kingdom and Ireland. We have two of our esteemed guides with us, Denis Beakey and Jeremy Martin. You'll have an opportunity to hear them talk in a little bit of depth about the trips that they lead themselves and why they love them so much. But again, I think we'll dive in here. Just very grateful for everyone to carve out some time as we have this conversation today. As we get into the discussion for the day, just as kind of a little bit of an outline of what to expect, a really simple and informal approach to again just really why this part of the world is so special and why traveling with MT Sobek here is just an exceptional way to experience the region. Um, when when we get to the trips and dive into them in depth, you'll have an opportunity to hear from Denis Beakey, our guide in Ireland, and Jeremy Martin, who leads some of our other itineraries in the UK. They will introduce themselves and then talk. We'll have a little bit of a conversation about the trips, really highlighting four of our particular itineraries in the region right now: Ireland north to south, England coast to coast, England Cotswolds, village to village walking, and our Scotland Western Isles trip. We'll also touch a little bit on the potential for private trips, private travel when coming to the area. We'll be sure to discuss when are the best times when we consider the best times to travel to these areas. And we'll talk a bit about our guides beyond Dennis and Jeremy. These are regions MT Sobek has operated in for decades, and our relationships go very deep, and we have a number of exceptional guides. So whichever trip you take, whichever time of year you're bound to be in the hands of someone truly special. At the end, we'll also talk about some upcoming trips, departures, or how to book those, how to get more questions answered if you have them. And we'll again leave time for questions. Also, as we're chatting today, you may see you have access to a chat box there, a way to ask questions. For the moment, for the time that we're chatting, I personally won't be monitoring that chat box. But we have my colleague Julie is here monitoring those questions as they come in. So feel free to drop a line if she has an answer for you, she'll be sure to provide that. If it's something that needs to wait for the end, you can we can either save that, you can bring it back up when I ask for questions at the end. But yeah, just want to make sure we allow time for folks to ask any questions they might have. Now, I think first and foremost, I know when I'm traveling, when I'm talking about a different part of the world, whether it's in the US or much further afield, I always like to conceptualize where I am. So obviously, this is a zoomed in map of Ireland and the United Kingdom. And this offers a little bit of an overview. It's not perfect, but it gives an image of where we operate. So first today we'll be diving into Ireland, and you can see I know Dennis will talk about it at great length, but when considering traveling to this area, as many of you know, it's two countries, and on our trip we will have the opportunity to explore Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland and cover a lot of ground. For our Scotland Western Isles hiking trip, you can see that we're also exploring quite a bit of the mainland, quite a bit of the Northern Highlands. We get out to Isle of Skye and spend a bit of time on the Outer Hebrides as well. For the England coast to coast, that's really just sort of think a central point to consider where you're traveling from. It actually our route goes from coast to coast, and it's hence the name. And it travels from the west, the Irish Sea, to the North Sea on the east coast. And then we will also discuss the Cotswolds, which are much closer in proximity to London, can be paired together nicely with a trip there if you want. But this hopefully helps visualize where we are talking about today and where the four distinct itineraries take place. So I think I'll use this opportunity now to welcome in Dennis. Dennis, thank you so much for being here today. I know you've led several of the last seasons with MT Sobek, but your guiding experience goes back decades. So very glad to have you here and eager to hear your thoughts on the trip itself and why it's so special to you.
Hi, Travis. Thanks very much for the introduction, and good morning or early afternoon to everybody who's taken part in this webinar. First of all, I'll say, being a true patriot, Fáilte go Héireann, or welcome to Ireland. My name is Dennis, and I was born and raised in Dublin here on the east coast of Ireland. And I've been working with Sobek, been very privileged to be in the position of showing people around a country that I'm very, very proud to live in. First of all, this trip from north to south, it's a fabulous experience if you've never been to Ireland. Really, it's quite comprehensive. Although most of the time is spent on the northern and western seaboard, you can see we're starting from Dublin and taking a long axis up to the north of the country to Derry, which is famed for its city walls, which are complete around the city for over 400 years old. And then close by, we'll be visiting the Giant's Causeway, which is a UNESCO heritage site and a place of spectacular interest to people who like taking photographs of surrounding farmland, as well as the unique geology of the area. And a second day out of Derry, we head up to number 3 there in the top of the map, which is over into Republic of Ireland. So our time there will be spent on the Inishowen Peninsula, where we get a chance to get a taste of what some remote Ireland looks like out on the Inishowen Peninsula in the Uras Hills. Just really is a place of wild seas and very small hamlets and homesteads. And then between number 3 and number 4, we're going from the top of the country out to the western seaboard. We're actually passing a few places that aren't actually even highlighted on the map, but this is quintessential Ireland. We'll be passing the grave of Yeats in Drumcliff. We'll be passing Knocknaree and the Carramore complex, which is one of the most significant Bronze Age settlements in the whole of Europe, one of the greatest concentrations of megalithic stone structures. And from there, Knocknaree is the principal mountain in that area. It's about 1,000 feet high, but it's topped off by a 40,000-ton megalithic structure that took many generations to build. And it's, I suppose, pretty typical of the richness of, I suppose, the ancient landscape that you are in on the west coast of Ireland. Stunning views out over Sligo Bay, where many of the ships from the Spanish Armada sunk. And then after that, we travel down to Westport on the western seaboard, which is under number 4 and 5 there. So Westport is a thriving kind of small town. Lots of very good pubs where you can celebrate Irish music. And then we will climb a mountain close by called Croagh, which is essentially where we made a transition from pagan Ireland to Christian Ireland, because it is now our most prominent site to visit as a pilgrimage mountain. We'll be ascending to the very top at about 2,700 feet. After that, we go south to Galway, another old city with fabulous pubs, small restaurants, coffee shops, and then out to the Aran Islands to visit another UNESCO site, Dunangus, and where we'll meet a local small farmer. And after that, then we will travel down the west coast of Clare, past the cliffs of Moher, 700-foot vertiginous cliffs, and we will travel on then down to the Dingle village, which is probably one of our most iconic small seaside villages, with a preponderance of great restaurants, great fish restaurants, and probably about 30 to 35 really good pubs with traditional Irish music still played, as it always has been. And then we finished the trip in a more genteel environment in Killarney underneath 10 and 11, which are ancient oak forests where Queen Victoria more or less kick-started the I suppose, tourist trade in Ireland. So that's keeping the concept of royalty in the news right at this moment. And then after that, we will travel across diagonally back to Dublin to finish the trip, but stopping on the way at the royal seat of Cashel. So that's a broad outline, at least, of the itinerary. So as you can
Yeah,
see
that's
here,
great.
you're possibly wondering weather in Ireland. What's it like? I would say May to September, you'd be wearing the same clothes. We'd always suggest, generally speaking, the weather is somewhere between about, 55 Fahrenheit, and believe it or not, can get as high as the high 70s, low 80s. Particularly during June, we often get sitting highs that can last for weeks upon weeks. Now we're just coming through a wet period at the moment, you'd be glad to hear. So if the statisticians can tell us anything, we're due some dry weather. But I have never been on a trip that we've really had weather problems per se. Just wait long enough, you're going to see blue skies. It goes without saying, a good proprietary weatherproof coat. It doesn't have to be Gore-Tex. It can be an own brand. But please, I would definitely suggest leggings as well, just for comfort. Something like mid-calf boots are really useful for a bit of support on ankles, and a hat and gloves, particularly for those high mountain days like Patrick and Mount Brandon in particular. A good quality rucksack that you're not putting on your back for the first time. So this is a good opportunity to go out and enjoy the outdoors as the weather improves at home now, and be used to your rucksack. And the only other items really I would say are things like sun factor, because we have the wind and the sun to contend with in the great outdoors here. The terrain itself is relatively non-challenging. We can be walking on small roads. We could be walking on green roads. We can be walking on hillsides with reasonable paths, but they're not groomed to the standards you might expect in perhaps European countries like Switzerland or Germany or Austria. It'll be a bit more robust on the mountains here. But that's why you can see all our hikers are carrying poles. They are really useful, not only to have, but also to already have used and be used to the setup. So they provide a little bit of stability, and especially with the wind as well. But again, I've never had a difficulty that people have found the terrain particularly challenging either. The height level is about level 3 for Sobek, which means we're going to be walking between 7 and 8 kilometers a day and climbing to about 2,500 feet in our big mountain days. The other days are much more gentle, but the big mountain days we're in places where you can take a relaxing day off and explore local small towns that we're based in anyway. What I was going to say, you can see in this slide here, essentially, I suppose we're in an area here that is not untypical of the West Coast. A lot of greenery, a lot of dispersed settlement where, people are living in very, very small land holdings, and where people would have been pushed out in the late 1700s, 1800s to areas that were more difficult to farm in. So you can see the field size only about an acre, because that was the average size of a farm until the 1850s in Ireland, just shortly after the famine. I was going to say, Travis, had you any particular points just at this stage?
Well, no, I'm just letting your words excite me for a future trip back to Ireland. I
Oh,
was thinking about how when you saw one of these images previously, if I remember correctly, you were delighted to find that they were some of your past guests, right?
in fact, I know all the people's names on that right-hand side photograph. We had
So that means they were either a bit of a
uh,
handful
no,
or the best guests you ever had in your
I,
life, right?
I think they suggest character, don't they?
Yeah,
They
it looks like an awesome group.
eight very different individuals, and we had a great trip, really good trip.
No,
Um,
I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the hotels and how they complement the itinerary as well.
They really do. I mean, the really the best hotels have been chosen in terms of where we were or where we are. This particular hotel is a great southern hotel. Obviously, it's very grand. So this is where Queen Victoria came to stay in Killarney on her stay. But the other hotels are all two or three are quite historic buildings, but they're extremely comfortable and very modern. And they're of a size on a European scale are reasonably spacious room-wise. Most of them have swimming pools or spas, with the exception of Bishopsgate in Derry. And although that is actually my favorite hotel, it is a small gym, but it doesn't have a spa or a swimming pool. But it's in a fabulous location. Really, the hotel is a refuge for apart from everything else there is to see in the city. So really, I think it's absolutely a superb choice for a city of that size. The food in Ireland tends to be you'll have hot and cold options for almost all your meals, with the exception of picnics that I'm glad to say are incredibly good, and we eat them on the hill, uh, with God's own good grace. And they tend to be the highlights. We have good food no matter where we go. Beef, lamb is extremely popular here, and particularly at the season that our visitors arrive in Ireland, which is the best weather window, May to September. Um, a lot of the restaurants that we're eating in pride themselves on local producers of really good quality food. So they'll be telling you the farm that the beef or the lamb comes from, or the boat that the fish or the has been cut from. So people take great pride in what they present at mealtime. I would add that vegetarians and vegans are surprisingly well catered for in Ireland. I would say incredibly well. And all our menus come with dietary descriptions in terms of any allergies of any description. That's a default. People really do care you have a good dining experience.
That's
Oh,
great. Yeah. And oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Travis, I should add, sorry, you have to stop me sometimes. Breweries and distilleries are second to none. And we will always give people a steer in terms of what's local as a way of experimenting and feeling the difference in terms of our small country as a whole.
I had a Guinness last night after dinner, kind of the winding down the evening. Whether it's Guinness or Murphy's, I'm always happy. That's excellent, Dennis. Thank you so much. I'm curious, um, when thinking about some of the trip highlights, is there anything that resonates really particularly with you when you're out there leading this trip? And maybe it's the same thing, but one or two things that really just you find are the more common. Just like particularly special moments for our guests.
Sure. I mean, I by way of being a little light-hearted, I will say the number of photographs that are taken of rainbows and lambs are phenomenal. If I got €1 for every time one was taken, we wouldn't need to be paid, you know. But I would say the freedom that people feel here, the friendliness in terms of approaching people and people engaging them, curious to know their opinions about the world. As regards locations to visit, I particularly love the Aran Islands and the Burren and Clare, where the Cliffs of Moher are. And I really, really enjoy one of the slides we had there where we come around a corner and we look at an expansive ocean and the Blasket Islands. It's a place that Irish is spoken still, a Gaeltacht area. And I'm very passionate about Irish culture. And those little islands out in front of you, four of the greatest writers ever in the Irish language lived in these islands within 20 years of each other in the early 1900s. So there is a phenomenal richness to both the archaeology and the living history of people throughout the Western seaboard.
That's excellent. Thank you for that. I know that's been a real concerted effort with this itinerary as well to, of course, showcase the scenery, but to be sure to fully immerse oneself in the rich, multi-millennia old culture. So thank you so much for sharing that. But is there anything else you'd like to touch on in particular before we give Jeremy a chance?
I'm certainly, I'll be free for questions and answers.
Perfect.
Just in deference to Jeremy, who's waiting in the wings. And I'll certainly be able to add to that. I'm wary of being Irish and maybe, you know, maybe being encouraged to say that's fine, Dennis.
Okay, well, that was perfect. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll transition. We'll give Jeremy an opportunity. He's got a few itineraries he wants to touch on today. The first we will be talking about is our England coast to coast. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're a little bit of a globetrotter and have been guiding for many, many years and leading trips for us in multiple hemispheres. So thank you and welcome today.
Morning, Travis. Great to be here. Before we move on to my itineraries, may I just ask Dennis a quick question?
Please.
So, Dennis, do you go to Lahinch, the little town of Lahinch, on your itinerary in County Clare?
Jeremy, believe it or not, my father was born about 5 miles from Lahinch. I spent all my holidays at Lahinch and that area in Clare.
Because
You know it?
my grandmother is from Lahinch, and she's an O'Dwyer. And I don't know if you've got any O'Dwyer in you, but you look kind of familiar in a sort of ruggedly handsome kind of way. You kind of remind me of me. So perhaps we're long lost cousins. So there you go.
You know, our paths no doubt have crossed at some stage, Jeremy.
Oh, there we go. Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.
Hey,
That's excellent.
just so it's just wonderful hearing Dennis's beautiful lilting Irish accent. So this is not a British or Irish accent, just for a bit of background. So I'm a New Zealander born and bred, but my mother is English. My grandparents on my dad's side are Irish. And I've been lucky enough to be living and working in the UK for about the last 25 years. And I started school in Scotland when I was between 4 and 6. And then probably the last 25 years, I'd say I spent half my time in Britain and half my time in New Zealand, traveling between the hemispheres.
That's excellent. Yeah. Hence why you guide on multiple hemispheres for us.
For sure.
But I know you've done this one a number of times, our England coast to coast.
Sure. So I've probably walked coast to coast on my own a couple of times, and then with MT Sobek another 20 times or so. It's a wonderful itinerary because there's not many times you can say you've walked from one side of a country to the other. I think you can also do it in Costa Rica with MT Sobek, but you can definitely do it in England. And in England, you could probably walk coast to coast 1,000 different ways. We've got this amazing network of rights of way and bridle paths that crisscross the country. So you could walk a narrower section, perhaps a more historic section like Hadrian's Wall, the edge of the Roman Empire. You could walk perhaps through Wales and across England, but we've chosen to do one of the national trails, which is called Wainwright's Coast to Coast. And it's famous for its scenery, but also its cultural, literary, historical connections. And it was invented by a real British hero, Alfred Wainwright. And he's one of the world's first long distance hikers. And he's linked up 3 amazing national parks: the Lake District National Park, Yorkshire Dales National Park, and the North York Moors National Park, from west to east. And we spent about 3 days in each of those national parks. And he designed it in 1973. And a lot of people who are walking west east on Wainwright's Coast to Coast are still using his handwritten guidebook today and his hand-drawn maps. He's got a wonderful turn of phrase, and if you don't mind indulging me, may I just read you a quick paragraph by Wainwright from one of his guidebooks?
Sure.
The fleeting hour of life of those who love the hills is quickly spent, but the hills are eternal. Always there will be the lonely ridge, the dancing beck, the silent forest. Always there will be the exhilaration of the summits. These are for the seeking, and those who seek and find while there is still time will be blessed, both in mind and body. So that nicely sums up what we achieve on the coast to coast. The tradition is on day 1, you pick up a pebble from the Irish Sea. So you can see the Isle of Man floating in the Irish Sea out on the west coast. Can't quite see to Denis over in Ireland, but you nearly can on a clear day. And then you walk with that pebble in your pocket for 9 days across to the North Sea. And then on the final afternoon, you cast that pebble into the North Sea. So I guess the Irish Sea is slowly getting a little bit deeper, and the North Sea is getting a little bit shallower as we're doing that. And if you were going to walk every step of Wainwright's Coast to Coast, it's a little bit a conjecture about exactly how long it is, because he's got a couple of alternative routes and places, and these days with GPS it's perhaps getting more accurate, but it's between 180 and 190 miles. But MT Sobek's route is, I guess you could call it the highlights. So we do just a little over half of that. And if you were determined to walk every step on your own, some of the days you'd be walking across really pretty farmland, but it is a little bit the same for a couple of days in a row. Whereas we transfer across those sections in the van, the minibus, and we stick to the highlights. So just looking at the slide here, Travis, perhaps we'll start on the top right there. So coast to coast, it's a great photo for illustrating what you can achieve in an itinerary if you don't want to feel like you're being guided every minute of the day. And I think it's really important in an itinerary to feel like you can have a sense of solitude and you're on your own. Then it's really well marked in a couple of places. There's a really well-formed trail. So it's not uncommon for the guide, or certainly for me, to say, hey, I'll see you at the squeaky gate by the little cottage in 45 minutes, and that's where we'll regroup. And that can work really well. But if you prefer to stay with the guide, then I'm always up for a chat on the trail as well. Perhaps we'll move down to the bottom right-hand corner, just going in chronological order here. So the historical connections, as Denis mentioned about Ireland, there are opportunities to see Neolithic standing stones, perhaps even a Neolithic stone circle in the Lake District. So we're talking about 5,000 years old. In the bottom right-hand corner there, we've got a beautiful piece of architecture, the Smaardale Viaduct, which is evidence of more recent history, and that's 19th century, and that was taking, so that's evidence of the industrial history of England, taking coke from the eastern side across to the iron furnaces on the western side. And then moving up to the top left, beautiful standing stone there, beautiful purple heather. There's 3 different species of heather, and they all have a slightly different hue of mauve, purple, and they flower at different times of the year. So in the North York moors, which is what we're looking at there with that fingerstone, the color changes through the season. So it's a slightly different purple from May to June, July, August, September. Everybody associates heather with Scotland, and that's a correct association. But the largest expanse of heathland is actually in the North York moors, where we spend the last 3 days of this itinerary. And big skies, wonderful, vast views. Think the Bronte sisters, beautiful, windswept, wild, romantic landscape. And then on the bottom left there, this is with maybe a day to go on the coast to coast. If that railway station looks familiar to you, either you're quite young or perhaps you've got children or grandchildren that like the Harry Potter movies. So in reality, that's Goathland, where we spend 2 nights. But in the Harry Potter movies, that's Hogsmeade and Hogsmeade Station. So yeah, the literary connections, more recent, J.K. Rowling, the Bronte sisters, James Herriot, All Creatures Great and Small, when we're in the Yorkshire Dales, the Middle National Park, and then moving back to the start of the trip, the Lake District and the Lakeland poets. So William Wordsworth, and the timing was impeccable there. Travis, so the top photo there is in on the lake, in the Lake District on Ullswater. Yeah, everybody in Britain, perhaps some people in North America know the quote, I wandered lonely as a cloud. So that's William Wordsworth. And he lived in a little cottage not far from the accommodation and on the lake that we're looking here in Grasmere. And we visit Grasmere. It's now a living museum. We get to see where William Wordsworth and his sister Dorothy lived, and where he wrote what are now his masterpieces, and also Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So this hotel here, wonderful backdrop, as you can see, but from the hotel itself, you're looking out across the beautiful Ullswater. So the Lake District is well named. There's a lot of lakes in the Lake District, but it could equally be called the Mountain District of England. And you can't see the summits of the mountains behind there, but the mountains of the Lake District are about 3,000 feet high. So perhaps in North America, that's just a little hill. But you've got to remember, these mountains are going up from near sea level. So a 3,000 foot base is a big mountain anywhere in the world. So if mountains makes you think, oh, I don't know if I can climb a mountain, I'll just put it out there now that although this is a level 4 trip, according to MT Sobek's grading, there's lots of factors that go into a grading. So it can be the length of the day, it can be the altitude gained, it can be the terrain underfoot, it can be the weather that you expect. And the coast to coast has got a little bit of everything that contributes to this grade, but it's a very achievable level 4. So the Lake Districts, you have a 2,000 foot ascent and descent on 2 of the days, and it is a little bit rocky and eroded underfoot. So that's definitely a level 4. Whereas perhaps in the middle of the trip, when we're in the Yorkshire Dales, which is more sort of undulating topography and very, very good surface underfoot. But there, if you've looked at the itinerary, there are actually a couple of days where it's 12 and 15 miles. So that's a long day for anybody who's even an experienced hiker. But keep in mind, it's a vacation. It's not the army. And a really wonderful aspect of this itinerary is that you can pick up your pebble in the Irish Sea and you can head across England with the team, but you don't need to feel that you're committed to walking every step of the way. So if I have 12 people in a group, it's not uncommon to have 5 or 6 different ways that they've actually crossed England. We're all a team together, but perhaps you might choose, instead of walking 15 miles in the lake, in the Yorkshire Dales, there's 2 places through that 15 miles where the support van could meet people. So you could turn it into a 10-mile day or a 5-mile day, whatever suited you. And same with the Lake District, heading up and over these mountain passes, especially with the weather being a factor. If that wasn't for you, no worries at all. You can have an opportunity to perhaps sit with the support driver and have a chat, and they're always charismatic and interesting, and you could shorten your day that way.
Well, and also, you know, a nice shepherd's pie or something like that will help power people up the mountain, right?
Absolutely. Well, actually, if you just flick back, Travis,
Sure.
I would think the English ales in the bottom right-hand corner might be better fuel for powering you up and down the mountain.
How are the non-alcoholic ales these days in the UK?
Yeah, well, they've become quite a big thing over here. Perhaps they are in North America too. We kind of went through the craft beer revolution, and now we're going through the low alcohol and non-alcoholic beer revolution at the moment.
I definitely think it's increasing in popularity here as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I do need to. I'm sure everyone's seeing it, but this almost looks like a little self-promotional photo you've slipped in here of Jeremy in action there in the bottom left.
Yeah, I look like I'm in a bit of a hurry. I don't think it was an emergency situation. Perhaps I was just posing for the camera. But yeah, I do look like I'm in a bit of a hurry in the bottom left there. But yeah, it's a very good shot. But that is coming down from one of these mountain passes in the Lake District.
Yeah.
Top left. Oh, so another architectural feature, especially of the Yorkshire Dales, which is the Middle National Park, is it's an incredible limestone karst landscape, and all the walls and all the architecture is built of limestone, and these walls are incredibly engineered. There's thousands of miles of them, but they've sat there for centuries, and there's no mortar in them. We call them dry stone walls. No mortar in them. It's just perfectly balanced rocks with a capstone to them. A comment just flicked up there, Travis. Was that about hiking poles?
It was, yeah. Someone asked about the need or the value of hiking poles. Maybe at the same time, you can just talk about gear, boots in general, what you recommend.
Yeah, sure. So I think hiking poles are a really great idea and not essential, but especially for the first national park, the Lake District National Park, there are places where it is rocky enough underfoot, and perhaps even a little bit slippery if it was a wet day, where a pole for support can really increase your confidence. And then if you're an experienced hiker and you're used to using two poles, I guess we might call that Nordic style hiking, you might want to take two poles. I personally take one pole, and I think it's super handy in the Lake District. But if you look at the top two photos there, it's very easy topography, very easy terrain, really well-formed trails underfoot. So in those situations, I'm still carrying my pole, but other people might choose to leave their pole in the support van or in their hotel for the day. So poles are a little bit dependent on the terrain, but I find them very useful. And MT Sobek can actually supply poles if you need them. And the other thing about poles is they're not super technical pieces of equipment. So they are what they say on the tin. It's just a pole for support. So if you want to give a hiking pole a go, I always encourage it.
I wonder, as we start to transition over to our itinerary in the Cotswolds, and
Yes.
Jenny, if I'm pronouncing it right, I see you have a question there. Feel free to drop questions in the chat, and Julie will do her best to answer. If we're not able to provide an answer in real time, you'll have an opportunity to ask us again at the end if you don't mind. But as I transition over to the Cotswolds, I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you could kind of talk about the hotels in a similar vein for both trips. How would you describe maybe the hotels for both of these two itineraries in England?
Well, first of all, it's a wonderful feature of the MT Sobek itineraries in England and Scotland, and I'm guessing in Ireland too, but Denis can speak to that. That we avoid chain hotels. We're using local hotels. They've got the local heritage. Perhaps they've been there for, in the case of the Cotswolds, hundreds of years. They can be quaint. They can be cute. The internal walls have been in the same place for centuries, and they're not going to change anytime soon because they're historically important and what we call listed buildings. So then sometimes not on the vast scale of perhaps a North American hotel room, but they're incredibly comfortable, beautiful fittings, beautiful furniture, and just full of charm and just reeking of history. So the Cotswolds, we stay in 3 different hotels. So a feature of all of the itineraries, but particularly the Cotswolds, is you're not moving on from hotel to hotel every day. It's common feedback wherever I've worked that people like to not feel like they're packing up their luggage every morning, and that they're coming back to somewhere familiar in the evening. So in the Cotswolds, we stay 2 nights at the Lamb Hotel in Burford, and then we move on to 3 nights in the Broadway Hotel, and then the final 2 nights at the Black Swan in Byberry. May I just talk about the top photo there, Travis, because that is just such the middle and top photo is just such a wonderful summary of what the Cotswolds is all about. If you're into climbing mountains, probably Cotswolds isn't your place. If you're into wonderful rolling countryside, you'll love the Cotswolds. Just bucolic perfection, literally thousands of villages where everyone is picture postcard perfect within this tiny region of England. If you're familiar with the west of England, or the countryside between London and Wales, which is kind of where the Cotswolds is, if I'm describing what is the Cotswolds, I say it's an area bounded by Oxford in the east, Stratford upon Avon, which we visit, so that's Shakespeare's home and where his grave is, in the north. 2 beautiful little cities, Gloucester and Cheltenham in the west, and then the city of Bath in the south. So everything inside that diamond shape is the Cotswold limestone, and it gives the Cotswolds its character and its heritage. So on this photo here, you can see the honey-coloured hue of the Cotswold limestone. This is Chipping Campden, by the way. And not a big town, Chipping Campden, but it's got an absolutely glorious church, which we call a wool church. So these wool towns have wool churches. And what that's referring to is what's in the foreground, and the best wool originally in the Roman Empire and then in the British Empire came out of the Cotswolds. So sheep farming has been a big part of the Cotswolds for thousands of years. Top right, that looks like the little chapel in Sudeley Castle. We visit Sudeley Castle. It's the only castle in England which has a monarch buried in its grounds, and that's Catherine Parr, the last wife of King Henry VIII. And we get to go into the chapel there and see her effigy in the chapel. It's a wonderful place to visit. If you're into beheadings and civil wars and all the excitements of the turmoil of perhaps the Civil War and beyond in England, you're going to love visiting Sudeley Castle with all the stories associated with it. Bottom left, that's beautiful Bourton on the water. They say it's the Venice of Cotswolds, with 5 wonderful stone bridges crossing the river. Top left, that's a wonderful depiction of typical Cotswold scenery. So like I said, it's more rolling rather than mountainous, the Cotswolds. And bottom right's more sheep. If you like sheep, you're going to be in heaven in the Cotswolds.
As you're talking about these, Jeremy, I wonder if I'm sure, itinerary to itinerary, there's really specific instances, but in general, how do these trips that you're describing, that Denis described earlier, differ from some of the other folks operating trips in the region?
There's a few fundamental differences. In my mind, a really important one is the guides that you have are going to be living in the area, working in the area. They're going to have personal connections to the area, which means if you meet someone that is part of the itinerary outside the guiding team, that's going to be someone, or that's going to be an experience which is chosen by the guide, rather than perhaps it was discovered on the internet, for example. And it gives it a really important local flavour to the itinerary that I know some other companies might bring their guides from where the company is based across to the Cotswolds. Still wonderful guides, but perhaps without that local knowledge and flexibility, you don't really feel like you're stepping into the local culture in the same way that MT Sobek can offer. Another thing is we maximize, should we call it, time, boots on the grounds time, and we minimize travel time. So it's the opposite of a coach tour, of a bus tour. And we've cleverly designed the itinerary. We're still staying 2 or 3 nights in a hotel. So it might involve a little shuttle at the end of the day, but the driving is minimal, let's say 20 minutes a day. And then also group size is a really important difference with MT Sobek groups. So perhaps, Travis, I can't really speak beyond my experiences, but what are the maximum group sizes for MT Sobek trips in Britain and Ireland?
Well, that's that's a fair question. I mean, ironically, it's a region where there's a little bit of diversity there, as it's always a slippery slope to speak in generalities, but generally we try to ensure that there's at least one guide for every 8 guests on our trips, and a maximum of 16 guests per trip. Now, this does have variety, which can be seen, for instance, in the UK. We have that exact ratio for our Ireland and Scotland trips, but then for the Cotswolds and the coast to coast, because we use smaller, more intimate inns, because the trails are smaller, we maximize our groups at 10 and 12 for those trips. And those 2 trips will also have a second support guide facilitating different stops. So I think your reasoning was more or less exactly what I would say as well. I think that's really important. One thing that I love about working with MT Sobek is building relationships with local people and really spotlighting that, which I think you've spoken to, but you see that. I mean, I'm not trying to like pull this out of nowhere, but I do remember reading a trip evaluation for one of your trips, Jeremy, in the Cotswolds, and somebody mentioned how they met your aunt, like in her back garden or something, which I know is not a standard part of the itinerary. I don't want to make that guarantee, but just the connections you said, even though you're from New Zealand, you still have these connections, or Denis in Ireland has these deep roots and this deep passion. I think that really resonates.
Sure. And
I don't want to. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Travis. My auntie has been living in the Cotswolds for 50 years or so. So I've been visiting the Cotswolds all my life. But yeah, having a cup of tea with my auntie is an absolutely wonderful experience, but we can't quite put it in the itinerary because she's not always going to be at home waiting for us.
She doesn't keep regular hours, right? No, I don't want to rush us along at all, but I want to make sure we have time to talk about Scotland and allow a little time for questions at the end. So if we haven't touched on anything that anyone's wants to hear about, be sure to ask us here shortly. But if you still have a little bit of your speaking voice left, Jeremy, I would love for us to touch on our trip in Scotland, if you'd be so kind.
It would be my pleasure. So first of all, Scotland is my original work connection to the UK. So I've been working originally running 6-day sea kayaking expeditions up and down the Scottish coast for 20 years or so. And then now I've moved into doing more hiking and cultural interpretation of the UK as a whole. But so I love Scotland. It's just an absolutely wonderful place. I'm from the South Island of New Zealand. If you look in the phone book, there's a lot of McDonald's and McLeods in the South Island. A lot of Scottish people, wherever they went in the world, they looked for the deepest, darkest, dampest corner, and they thought that feels like Scotland, and they made that place their home. So that's the south of the South Island. But Scotland, what do we call it? We call it the Scotland Western Isles Hiking. I think that's a really great name because we linger on this incredible chain, like a string of jewels or pearls out to the west coast of the mainland. which some people call the Western Isles. You'll probably find Scottish people might call it the Outer Hebrides, but we linger in the Outer Hebrides for 3 days of the itinerary. And some itineraries might be a bit scared of the Outer Hebrides. It looks like a long way out there in the Atlantic all on its own. It requires a 3-hour boat trip. Thanks, Travis. A 3-hour boat trip. Well, 2 hours to get out there, 3 hours to get back to the mainland. It can be a bit windswept and bleak, but in the same way, it's also really remote. The next stop, if you head west from there, is Nova Scotia, New Scotland, or Newfoundland. It's got really resourceful, resilient people living out there. And it's just a wonderful place just to head out, slow the itinerary down a bit, and just experience. Oh, so I think you call what did you call, Denis, the part of Ireland where they're still speaking the native language?
Gaeltacht.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
Thank you. And Scotland's version of that is the Outer Hebrides. So there's still a few tens of thousands of people who speak Scotland's native language, Gaelic, and you'll hear them speaking Gaelic in the Outer Hebrides. So on these photos we're looking at just here, this is the Isle of Skye. So the Isle of Skye is an island. You can tell from its name, although it's connected by a bridge these days, but it's not the Outer Hebrides. So now we've moved into the Inner Hebrides, and this incredible eroded landscape on the left there, that's the Old Man of Storr, and beyond you've got the Isle of Raasay and the mainland of Scotland. And then bottom right, the incredible green, vivid green, and lakes of the Kerrang on the Isle of Skye. So that's a really good example of the terrain on the top right there that you can expect in a lot of Scotland. There's not much tree cover, so whatever the weather is doing, we will be experiencing it in Scotland. It can be a little bit boggy in places, but on our itinerary, there's well-formed trails through the bog, so we don't set out each day expecting to get wet feet in Scotland. But it's very similar to the conditions that Denis described. You need to be visiting Scotland with good waterproofs, good boots, and particularly a good system maybe for keeping your gear that you're carrying in your pack dry. So whether that's a pack cover, they work really well. Or I tend to just have a large plastic bag inside my pack, which I put everything in, and then I just twist the top of the pack up, and that keeps it dry too. Here we go with the Kerrang again.
I think some of these images, sorry, Jeremy, I think it's true with all of these areas that we're going, but I feel like Scotland and Ireland in particular, you just look at it and there's something majestic. You feel the age and weight of the place. I don't know, maybe that's me being romantic or something, but that's just that's unbelievably alluring.
Yeah, that's such a great description, Travis, because it's not wilderness like I know in New Zealand. It's not untouched wilderness like you might experience in the United States, North America. So the landscape has been modified by humans to some degree across the whole British Isles. But that is part of the attraction for me, because when I say it was modified perhaps 6,000 years ago. So being able to walk along and just actually see evidence of the incredible, tragic, romantic, colourful history of the landscape and the people that lived there before you, whether it's a ruined cottage or an old dry stone wall, or the evidence of where the Jacobites moved from Scotland down to England. It's really part of the whole experience. Yeah, everybody on the left there looks like these two gentlemen in Scotland. Like, I don't personally own a kilt, but perhaps I should, because they look quite magnificent. And top right, so there's the Cool House Hotel. That's the last hotel of our journey through Scotland. A lot of the hotels in Scotland, these magnificent stone hotels, were built during the Victorian era. So before Queen Victoria and Prince Albert turned up and went on their grand tour through Scotland. For a lot of English people, Scotland was dark and mysterious, and deep valleys, deep glens, and high mountains, and scary people wearing kilts and speaking a different language. And then Queen Victoria went through and wrote in her journals about how much she loved Scotland. And the royals in the 19th century were perhaps the equivalent of the Kardashians or an influencer today. So if they thought it was a cool place, then everybody wanted to go to Scotland. So after they bought their castle Balmoral in the late 1900s, so all these Victorian era hotels popped up. Looks like Caribbean. The best beaches in Europe. It's a little bit cooler, a little bit windier, but if you disregard that on a photo, that could easily be some of the best beaches in Europe just there. So that beach in the distance there is about half a mile wide, not half a mile long. So that's looking down from Tow Heads on the Isle of Harris, and beautiful turquoise water. The sand is brilliant white, and it gives it that amazing turquoise hue. So those photos, that's the beaches of the Outer Hebrides, where we spend the last 3 days of our itinerary.
I think this last image here is, I mean, it's from Scotland, obviously, but I think it's, again, you might find something similar throughout the land we've spoken about today, and just, I don't know, such an amazing history here. These are
But this is the Callanish standing stones of the Isle of Lewis. And you know what? It's nice there's still a few mysteries in the world. Because if you're visiting Callanish standing stones, perhaps you visit it one day with someone with a PhD in the Neolithic history of Britain, you'll find probably 3/4 of the answers to your questions are, we don't know. So exactly what these stones are here for, perhaps we'll never know, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Well, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. Again, I'm not trying to speed anyone along, but I know we allotted sort of an hour. I want to make sure we have time for questions if anyone has them. So just a couple of more quick things. If you've enjoyed your time with Denis and Jeremy, I can tell you that they are both truly special guides and people highly regarded by our guests, and not to take anything away from them, but we have many other guides in the area as well who are also equally seen in a similar light from our guests who have traveled with them before. And you will absolutely be in phenomenal hands with people who are local. If they're not local, they moved there 20 years ago, they have deep ties, and they can really connect you to the region. And so whoever is your guide or guides on your departure, you will be in exceptional hands. And I think it's someone you will remember fondly for the rest of your days. Here we have a few testimonials from from guests who have taken. I think there's one here from each of the 4 trips we discussed today. You really do find a deep joy and a deep reverence for the area and for these itineraries from folks when they have the opportunity to experience them. So we certainly hope that you all will get the opportunity to in the future, if it is something you want to explore more or have questions about. As we were stating earlier, we usually start our trips, start our season more like May, but obviously summer is fast approaching. So for now, we still have availability for many of these trips we've talked about today from June through September. There's a number of confirmed departures with loads of phenomenal guides. If you did really enjoy your time with Denis and Jeremy today, and you would be open to traveling with them this summer, our trip consultants can help direct you to the departures that they're currently slated to join in on, and you can call that number. We also do have private options available. Sometimes we can do custom travel. We can create a date where availability is present, which can be pretty difficult in some of these smaller hotels, smaller regions throughout the UK. We also have a trip that runs from the Lakes District in England to Northern Wales, Snowdonia National Park. So all sorts of options you might choose to explore. I know we're coming up on our time here, but if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post them now, and I should be able to see them. But if not, if you're leaving, thank you again so much for joining us today, for carving some time out, for spending a little bit of time sharing our passion for such a special part of the world. Um, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon or morning wherever you're located. Uh, Thank you again, Jeremy and Dennis. I've got the chat open, so if does anyone have any questions? I think I think I saw something come in. Maybe this is applicable. Maybe Dennis, Jeremy's been talking for a while, but
Sure.
oh, there's a good question. I was about to talk about how we handle, somebody had asked about, we'll do Bob's question as well, but Dennis, maybe you can try and field this. Um, when rain or weather conditions impact particular days of the itinerary, how do you approach that? Um, is it a case by case basis? Do you have back pocket options on the go? How do you approach that?
Absolutely. Yeah. For starters, I'll be honest, Travis, you never get two groups that are the same. So groups have their own dynamics, but of course, we're there to offer guidance in terms of alternatives. So I would always have a plan B and a plan C, in dependent on weather. But Travis, over the last 4 years, I haven't cancelled a single day of an itinerary on any trip. We've always been able to make do because people come pretty well prepared. And we had one group, in fact, who it hadn't been wet a single day. And we were going out to an island and it was going to be wet. And they thanked the gods that they got to experience a day in Ireland with a little bit of soft rain as well. That's part of the experience in terms of our environment.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for that. And then Jeremy, Bob mentioned kind of that specific question as it pertains to the coast to coast. Well, maybe a little bit different. Do you have a sense of when you might expect the least amount of rain, knowing that it's unpredictable throughout the course of the summer? If somebody's trying to maximize those dry days, what would you recommend?
Um, you could potentially get rain at any time during those 5 months, and you could potentially have 9 days of brilliant sunshine. So it's hard to recommend a particular time of the year if you're looking to avoid the rain. The big change, I guess, is the average daily temperature. From May might go from sort of mid 50s through to into the 70s in let's say July, and then be tailing off in September, October too. But Scotland or specifically the coast to coast, it's not a rainy, wet environment if you average it over a trip when we're guiding our trips. In the winter, it can be. We're not operating
Okay,
in the winter. Yeah.
that's good to know. Susan, if you're still there, I know you asked a little bit about the Wales trip. So we for this summer we have an 8-day trip. It features actually the Lakes District National Park of England, which we talked about earlier, and the Northern Wales, Snowdonia National Park, a lot of the rugged coastline of Wales. You get a little bit of, you stay in 3 different accommodations, the Inn on the Lake, which we talked about today, a pastoral farm inn in Wales, and then on the coast in a small village as well. There's a lot of UNESCO heritage sites that we experience. We go to a couple of the really well-known castles. And yeah, that's another, I think, a spectacular foray into the region. Well, one thing that's unique about that trip is it's designed with mixed abilities in mind. So it's a level 2 and a level 3. If you take that trip, there will be 2 guides on it, regardless of group size. And each day it's specifically designed to have a shorter and a longer option. If you have more questions about that, please feel free to call our team and they can definitely chat to you about that. Um, Do we have any other questions? If not, I don't see any coming in. Um, Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Dennis, once more for carving out some time for this and for taking such good care of our travelers when they're in your hands. It's been a pleasure for me to spend some time with you both. And yeah, I just want to say thanks again, everyone. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. and a wonderful rest of the winter wherever you are. Thank you.
Thanks for hosting it, Travis.
Yeah,
Take
of course.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And hello to anybody who I might have ever guided in the past who has been part of this webinar.